The British final is the pinnacle of the British calendar, outside of Cardiff of course. For years the fans would arrive in droves at Brandon on Sunday afternoons to see who was crowned the national champion, and then it went through many changes and sort of lost its sparkle, you could say. Adding the factor of the wild card for Cardiff being decided helped, but seeing such a major event tucked away on a Monday night seemed such a waste. So it's refreshing that after so many years the 2024 event will once again return to a weekend spot at Bellevue this Saturday, with the return of some big names to the lineup as well. I'm in Speedway.
Good evening and welcome to the Speedway Tavern in association with So-Called Studios. How are we doing, gentlemen?
Oh,
not too bad.
Good so far.
Yeah. There you go, remembered this time.
Well done.
Yeah.
Well done.
Right, shall we start with last night's match?
Which one?
Well, there's a couple, wasn't there?
Yes.
A cracking match between Leicester and Oxford by all accounts.
Yep.
2 points win by Oxford.
Mm-hmm.
How many of us got that?
A couple of people did, I think.
Did they, really? Well,
Yep.
Wasn't me.
Don't say I got it right.
Okay, we won't say you got it right.
No, you didn't.
Yeah.
No. Let's not be silly there.
Okay. I love the confidence there.
Clive Woodier says, do you think Birmingham should have got rid of Cook instead of Lampard? They did get rid of Cook. I'm guessing you meant that the other way round.
Yeah.
My own personal opinion is that it shouldn't have been either of those two, but I'm going to keep that one to myself because it's pointless now, isn't it?
Well, the change has been made now, so
Yeah.
I think it was going to be tough on whichever one went. I think obviously the issues with Freddie's visa has sort of given Birmingham a little bit of time to sort of think about this, and obviously it wouldn't have just been a spur of the moment thing. Obviously, Nigel Tolley and Sam and Lawrence Rogers would have all had a sort of hand in the decision, but ultimately the decision had to be made for the benefit of the club, and they live and die by their decisions, don't they? So we'll see now whether that decision has been going to be vindicated. First of all, obviously, I should say best wishes to Steve Worrell. As somebody who's suffered from labyrinthitis, and my dad does as well, I can tell you it's horrible, not very nice at all. That could take some time to clear as well if it's anything like the one I had, which
What's it called again?
Labyrinthitis. It's
When I saw it on the website, I thought
laryngitis.
Have they spelled that wrong?
Yeah, it's an inflammation of your inner ear, and it causes you to lose your balance.
Right, okay.
Quite important for a speedway rider.
Yeah, if you're riding on the track and just about to go into the first corner, and this thing, and it literally does hit you completely. You could be sitting there in your chair reading a book or something, and suddenly hit you, and then you just feel like the room's spinning. It's very disorientating. So hopefully that's not good. Hopefully that'll take that'll clear very, very quickly, but I certainly wouldn't be getting back on a bike until he knows that for certain that's cleared, because if that hits you while you're on the bike, it could be pretty dangerous.
Which sort of begs the question, why didn't we sign him in place of Worrell while Worrell gets himself sorted?
Well, there is that. There's that side to it.
Hey-ho. Maybe there'll be somebody out there that can answer that for us. Yeah, I mean, we'll obviously talk about last night's match, and we'll talk about Leicester. Is anybody there that was at the Leicester Oxford meeting that sounded like as much of a cracker as our meeting was the week before? This was not of that calibre.
We saw one or two good rides. I mean, it was a phenomenal ride by Emil Seyfried in the last race. It did look as if Justin Sedgman was going to beat him for the third time, was it, or second time?
Second time, I think, yeah.
He didn't really do a lot wrong, did he, Sedgman, in that race either?
No, he didn't.
Emil just, I think, just outrode him in the end, and just sort of kept it on the line, kept it right round the boards, and you just felt all the way through he had the speed, and he was just going to, once he got it picked his spot, he was going to get through. And it was a phenomenal piece of riding from the Russian Rocket. But we saw one or two good racing moments from last night, but I felt Birmingham sort of let it slip.
I have to agree.
think you know, at one point they were 6 points up, weren't they? And
I think the big difference last night was the form of Keane and Rue, which, incidentally, I'll give that as my early on. My rider of the week will be Keane and Rue.
Oh, right, okay, yeah.
And Norick Bloodon, all of a
Norick
sudden,
Bloodon, yeah, he rides
his
very
first
well.
race was average, to say the least, and then all of a sudden he was pushing people aside and coming through, and
I think the big worry that a lot of the Birmingham fans that I spoke to had was going to be Scott Nichols, but he really looked as if he just very quickly ran out of steam. He's been doing a lot of racing recently, so you just wonder whether maybe that's caught up with him a little bit. But no, Bloodorn in particular really impressed me. I can't remember how he rode for Bellevue when he came to Birmingham. I don't. He didn't certainly.
I don't remember that being.
So.
Yeah. So I'm. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna say some things now. I've got to be very careful what I say here because I do know some things. Yeah. There's been a lot of. I mean, it always happens, doesn't it? But a lot of criticism of the Birmingham management over the Freddie Lindgren situation with the visa not going through for whatever reason. And every one of those comments was unfair.
Yeah.
Because they blamed anybody in the management. I think everybody's been mentioned. And also, I want to have a chat about Sam Malenko in a little bit as well.
Yeah.
Just brought me something else up into my head. So there's all these, and they were all wrong. I can't tell you why they were wrong, but I do know that they were wrong, that there was reasons that happened that were completely out of the management's... there's nothing they could do about it, basically. It wasn't their fault. There are certain people that I feel should be ashamed of themselves. And I'm not talking about the Speedway fans on this one. I'm talking about to do with the reason of why it didn't happen. I can't say anything else. But it ain't the Birmingham management, I will say that. So, but added to that, one of the things that's been really good this year is clarity. This feels like old-fashioned BSPA unclarity. The fact that nobody's allowed to say anything, and etc., etc. So I'm rather hoping that actually eventually the truth does come out, because it just feels like a kickback to me to the old times of the BSPA taking their fans for granted. So that's
the only thing I'd probably add to that is maybe. A minor thing, but maybe when Birmingham released a statement announcing they're signing Freddie, maybe they could have said subject to visa, just to sort of cover themselves, because you never know with these sort of things what's going to happen. I mean, I don't know. I mean, obviously you know maybe a little bit more than I do. So that's possibly something that maybe they could have got in the statement just to sort of cover themselves a little bit. But the most important thing for Birmingham now, obviously, he's here. He's in the UK, of course. He did obviously a few laps after the meeting last night. Looked very good, as you know, I'd expect from Freddie. Was very, very strange not seeing him in a gold and black Kevlar, but I'm sure I'll get used to that. Yeah, and you know, I know for a fact that a lot of my mates from Wolverhampton are obviously hoping to certainly looking to come over to watch Freddie. I mean, Freddie's a absolute legend of Wolverhampton, rode for us for 13, 14 seasons. So he's obviously still going to be a big draw and still a top rider as well, which has been. I
mean, second in the world and had a really good Grand Prix this weekend.
Yeah, didn't start off very well, did he? But sort of got better as the meeting went on. I hadn't actually realised when I was reading last night that he actually raced obviously in the same team as Sam for one season.
Right.
Yeah, that was his first full season here, which was 2004, which was Sam's last year really riding for Wolves.
You brought Sam up. There's been a lot of criticism about Sam as team manager, saying he hasn't got a clue, etc., etc. I actually think he's done a really good job at Birmingham this year.
I think, yeah.
And
I'm not just saying that because obviously he's a hero.
I think he's made some really tough decisions on the night. Last week, and he made last week against Ipswich, he made all the right decisions that helped in the end. I mean, you know, I wouldn't have picked the two that he picked for Heat 15, but he was right, and I was wrong. nobody here is surprised about that. So, yeah, I just want to say, put that out, because I'm getting fed up of reading all this criticism about him and about Lawrence and about everybody associated with Birmingham. We're still not out of this knockout cup.
No, still not out of it, but it's going to take a Herculean effort to obviously turn that deficit.
It's not likely.
It's unlikely, but you never know. You know, these things are there to surprise you. And what a boost it would be if Birmingham do manage to overturn it and get into in the first season back in the top flight, get into a cup final, which would be huge for the club. I don't think it will happen, but you never know.
It's not out of the question.
No.
Okay, we should say also hard luck to Jason Doyle.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I mean, obviously, I've seen footage of the crash. It was pretty horrific, and you know, it's a real shame for him as well, because he started off the season so well, and looked, you know, as if he might even be in with a good bet of regaining the World Championship after 7 years. But that's obviously on the kibosh now. But the most important thing for him is obviously he spends time with his family and gets himself fully fit. And obviously, best wishes, Jason.
Jeff Daniel says it's been confirmed on the BSPA website. It's the BSPL, isn't it? Website, Lindgren race riding on Thursday. Yep.
It's not a track I don't think he's ridden that often, actually.
No.
Ipswich.
I don't imagine it'll have...
I wouldn't have thought so, no. Wouldn't have thought so.
Pavlichki rode really well tonight for his Swedish team, says Dave Twine. Well, I don't care.
I was disappointed with him last night, to be fair. I think you looked at the Birmingham team and you saw Pavlichki at reserve. You think, I mean, certainly after his first year, when he won his first year races, but never really got into
I think it was telling he didn't get his 7 rides.
Yeah, I think it was.
So, okay, so we'll we'll move on to other things now.
That's enough of Birmingham.
Absolutely. I think we should say congratulations to another ex-Birmingham rider, Sam Hagan.
Yes, British under 21 champion, really on Sunday at Glasgow. I don't remember where it was then. So
it's a place in Scotland.
Yeah, I thought that was Edinburgh. Oh, I shouldn't say that, should I?
No,
upset the wrong side of the Scottish divide.
Anthony Bailey says the Birmingham management saying crowds still aren't big enough to make it work long term. I think they said that in one statement in the programme. And since that, we had that massive crowd against Ipswich last week. Weren't the best crowd, but certainly weren't the worst crowd.
No, I've seen worse crowds at Perry Ball than that, mostly last season.
I'm guessing, unlike football and other sports, I mean, attendance is the main income. Am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah, without doubt.
Yeah. Although we're doing quite well, we're probably doing better than we deserve in one respect with sponsorship and so on. We've got quite a lot of sponsorship going on when you look at the programme and what's going around the track and everything. So that's always... that's down to Steve Lawrence, Rolleston.
Yeah, I know. Obviously, being a part of Steve's team now with the hospitality people, there's a lot of work going in at Birmingham to sort of improve the sort of the portfolio of the club and to improve the image of the club. And certainly, if they can continue to get some decent results. I mean, the start of the season they've had has been decent. You know, they've obviously lost more matches than they've won, of course, but they've been competitive in the vast majority of those matches. They're certainly, you think back to...
More competitive than in the away matches as well, than was possibly expected.
They were more competitive away this season than they were at home last season, really, weren't they, when you think about it? And that's not a joke. That was the case last season. But I think there is some cautious optimism for Birmingham. They've got to get, obviously, they've got to get through the season and then see where the land lies, because we don't know for certain what's going to happen yet with the Greyhounds, obviously, from Perry Bar from the end of this year. We keep hearing that they are going to be moving out at the end of this season. That obviously then leaves the Birmingham as the sole users of the stadium, which then maybe gives them opportunities. You've got the big
concessions and all of that.
The concessions, you've got obviously they've got the big perimeter fence that goes right round the stadium. Of course, as far as I'm aware, Birmingham as a club aren't allowed to use that for sponsorship at the moment, but they might be able to use it moving forward.
Maybe.
So we'll see.
And we've got back onto Birmingham. Sorry about that. So Sam Hagen, under 21 champion, star in the making. I think.
Oh, I think so. Yeah,
he's come on really quick.
Yeah,
hasn't he?
I was quite in what was a difficult season for them last year. I was quite actually impressed with Sam Hagen when he was at Perry Bar last year. He's had a decent start to this season, and it was a decent field as well. I think Leon Flint was second, wasn't he? So
yeah,
and Ashton Boven, of course, who really has impressed me. You know, I mean, obviously he rode in the British Youth Championship at Perry Bar last year. Really, really impressed me.
How well he's come on,
and he's come on leaps and bounds. And of course, you know, he's been getting some decent results as well in the top league as well, hasn't he? So again, there's another good clutch of younger British riders coming through to keep the ones that are already established on their toes, hopefully. But yeah, you know, big results, and that's obviously a big title to have for any British rider.
Okay, well, let's move on to the GP then.
Yep.
Massive night for Mr. Vaculik.
Mm-hmm. Three wins in a row.
He likes that track.
He does, yeah. And of course, everybody knows the story that more often than not, whoever wins at Prague goes on to win the World Championship. So obviously, it's not worth the last 3 years.
I was going to say it's not worth.
Yeah, but, you know, I mean, he's certainly obviously it's a few Grand Prix wins. I mean, he won at Cardiff last year, didn't he? So, but again, you know, Bart Smarslick again looked pretty much back to his best, didn't he, in the first few races? But obviously another Grand Prix where he hasn't won, managed to get the win, but still getting the points to keep himself just ahead of the chances. But probably the biggest disappointment, I think, was probably Jack Holder, who didn't go so well.
Did we think that Prague wasn't the greatest track for racing?
No, Prague isn't. I've seen bits of the meeting. You know, it's not a track that it generally lends itself to good racing, because I think I just think it's all about raw power, and it's a bit one-lined and a bit flat. It has brought up some decent racing on occasions in the past, but you know, it's a GP obviously that's established well. It's obviously a popular venue, Prague, with a lot of people. So yeah,
there's not a lot else we can say about the meeting. I mean,
yeah, it's just said. I mean, I've seen bits of it. It sort of got better towards the end of the meeting, but the first few races were very much strung out, unfortunately.
I mean, it was interesting. I mean, the minute Fred Lindgren becomes a British Speedway rider, he gets second in the...
Yeah.
I'm going to put that down to Birmingham. I'm going to put that down to him signing for Birmingham.
Hopefully that will give him a boost, because he's had a tough run, hasn't he?
Yeah.
You know, he pretty much, I don't think he's pretty much said himself he hasn't been riding anywhere near enough, so hopefully now these extra meetings that he gets...
I think it's true to say that Birmingham have never had a rider that's currently riding in the Grand Prix riding for them.
Bjarne Pedersen did.
Was he still in the Grand Prix at the time?
Yes.
Okay. And actually, now I'm thinking about it, it wasn't Martin Smolinski.
Might have been the year after. Might have been the year after. Of course, he won the Grand Prix in New Zealand. Didn't
No,
he?
it was definitely It was definitely.
I don't know whether he was riding for
us.
Birmingham that year. I'm not so sure. I think it might have been the year after. Was he in the 2014 team?
I think so. I think it's when he was riding for us, and I'll explain to you why afterwards. I can't say anything on air.
Yeah.
We got some YouTube stuff.
Interesting one.
Rob Dyer, evening guys. Did you know that poor Speedway presenter Nigel Leahy has been working tirelessly behind the scenes to secure the issue of the visa required by Freddie Lindgren to resume UK racing? I did not know that, but good on him. Mm-hmm. Nigel is and has been the go-to man for visa information and applications, as many promoters and overseas riders will willingly testify. So, again, I didn't know that. That is nice information. Simon Corbett, Ipswich got Ellis back. Harris and Masters guesting RR for Thompson. I had heard that they was going to be getting Adam Ellis back. I had heard. I mean, that's a good-looking team. It's not Jason Doyle, but it's not best they can do get to. Okay, so Fred Graham, I was at the I was at the under 21 final on Sunday. I'm not a great fan of individual meetings. That's me as well. But all the young lads put on great entertaining racing. Disappeared again. Well done to Sam Hagan, deserved winner. Don't understand why Dan Thompson has been given a 7-day suspension for not racing at Plymouth tonight when coming down with COVID. Bit harsh. I don't know about that.
No, I didn't know. That's the first I've seen about that.
Anthony Bailey says...
We'll have a look at the scores of that one shortly, because that is going on at the moment.
Anthony Bailey says Smolinski had left when in the GP, so maybe my memory's wrong, but not for the first time.
I thought he had. I'm convinced. It's in my mind that he wasn't riding for Birmingham at the time, but I might be wrong.
Dan Thompson had to pull out of the under-21 meeting and Birmingham feeling unwell. My understanding is that the reason he pulled out of Birmingham wasn't for anything to do with him being well or not unwell. I think it was a raw problem. He now has COVID, so get well soon. Absolutely.
Yep.
There's not many people that haven't experienced COVID, is there? I don't think.
I don't think so. I've had it. Yeah, so
I've had it twice. Just liked it so much the first time.
Yeah, same as me, yeah.
I had it once. So.
Lawrence Rogers says illness means an automatic 7-day suspension of licence. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So,
Illness means an automatic 7-day suspension of our licence. Why?
well, that's a good question. I presume it's to stop people from pretending to be ill. I don't know.
I'm guessing they don't get paid.
You get paid if you ride, don't you?
Yeah.
Lawrence, over to you on that one.
That seems a bit harsh to me.
Yep, it does to me.
I've done those. Yep.
Okay.
Have we caught up?
We have caught
I think,
up.
yeah.
We have caught up.
Well, let's have a look at how things are going on at Plymouth.
Yes.
So that will just amuse yourselves for a minute. So just
Please, no, not
Plymouth,
like,
Plymouth,
not like
against,
that.
it is Plymouth against Redcar in the championship. It is currently Plymouth 22, Redcar 26.
Redcar waking up all of a sudden.
Yeah, they have. I mean, they are. That's have to heat them right. Ben Barker's been withdrawn from the meeting on medical grounds, so that's a blow for.
Good God!
That's a blow for.
Everybody's falling down at the
Obviously,
moment.
he crashed out in his first race. Clipped the back straight fence and down. Didn't look good. Walking back to the pits.
Okay. Oh, well, another one to say get better soon then.
Yeah, of course he'll obviously be mindful of Bellevue on Saturday as well.
Yeah.
Which of course we'll be talking about shortly, no doubt.
Well, let's make that shortly now.
Yep. Okay, so the lineup then. So subject to fitness, of course, Ben Barker, Robert Lambert, Chris Harris, Danny King. Again, I think he will. Obviously, I don't think he'll ride on Thursday because I think he'll probably be saving himself for this one on Saturday. Craig Cook, Conor Mountain, Adam Ellis, Ty Woofenden, Lewis Kerr, Steve Worrell again, subject to fitness, Dan Bewley, Richard Lawson, Rory Schlein, Tom Brennan, Charles Wright, and Carl Howarth. That's your lineup for the British final.
Pick a winner out of that. Oh, by the way, can I just say this, because this doesn't happen very often. Lawrence has said I was right. It's to stop fictitious illnesses to miss meetings.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no, I didn't mean that one.
It'll do. Okay.
It's a difficult one to call, actually, isn't it? You know, obviously it's good to see both Robert Lambert and Ty Woofenden back in it. I certainly don't think Ty will start as the favourite.
No,
because obviously, another nightmare evening for
just
him.
didn't look good at all.
Yeah, you wonder whether he's going to carry on with it really in the GPs. It can't be certainly somebody can't be fun for him just trundling in last.
No, I can't
much every
imagine
single
getting
race.
a wild card on the form that he's shown this year.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're looking at certainly Robert Lambert. I think he's undoubtedly going to be the favourite. I think one man who could be a very, very big spoiler in it is Tom Brennan. Obviously knows the track well.
I was going to say that,
He's having a really good season so far. Dan Bewley, of course, has got home track advantage. Charles Rice obviously knows the track as well, and of course, a former winner of the British Championship in 2019. Yeah, so Lambert would probably be the favourite, but if I was going to put an outside bet on anybody, maybe even getting the wild card spot, it would be Tom Brennan.
Tom Brennan. Well, Anthony Bailey's done a prediction of Lambert, Bewley, and Brennan.
That wouldn't be a shock. That
No.
one. Certainly wouldn't be a shock. Looking forward to that one. I've obviously got my tickets to go on Saturday, so I'm looking forward to that one. And I think it's great. As I said to me intro, I think it's great that it's back on a weekend. I think having it tucked away on a Monday night just seemed to sort of take a little bit of gloss off it, really. Unfortunately, so
It's going to be on the box, isn't it?
yeah,
I
it is on the
believe?
telly. Yeah, so
So I shall still haven't managed to get down to Bellevue. It's terrible, isn't it?
yeah, I think there are still tickets if you.
Up to Bellevue, I should say.
Yeah, there are still tickets available, I believe. So
Okay, we'll see.
yeah,
And if people could ever think about their rider of the week, and we'll announce
Yep,
that
of course.
at the end of the,
I think somebody
Sure.
mentioned Bloodhorn earlier.
yeah.
Yeah.
And somebody, I think, and also somebody mentioned.
somebody went with the same one you went with as well.
Yeah, and I can't remember. He rode last night,
Yeah.
and he's rode for us this year.
Yeah,
and
strange
he
day.
didn't have a very good. Scott Nichols.
Yeah,
There you go.
yeah. Scott Nichols had a fantastic night at Ipswich, didn't he? On last Thursday, it was sort of like the old Scott Nichols of old, wasn't it? But
He had a mare.
he had a mare last night,
Last
didn't he?
night.
I think people, as I said at the start, I think people were expecting him to be a big thorn in Birmingham side last night, having already ridden got the
Thank
experience of the track.
God, he wasn't.
Yeah, I think it's one of those nights for Scott, really, unfortunately.
Peter Clark, other than the wild card place, isn't the GP qualification for 2025 also up for grabs?
Got a feeling it might be, yes. Got a feeling it might be. But obviously the big one, I think, for a lot of the guys is going to be the chance to race at Cardiff. And Tom Brennan, I thought, was very unlucky a couple of years ago when he missed out, when he was abandoned, and they instead of, and I think it's him and Bomber that were leading it. And I thought at the time the fairest thing would have been to have for him and Bomber to go to Cardiff on the Friday night before the GP and have a run off to decide who got the wild card. But of course they picked Adam Ellis, who hadn't had a great season at that point. So
Fred Graham has an interesting idea. Do you think the under-21 championship should be given a wild card into the British final?
could be.
It's not a bad idea, is it?
It's not a bad shout, no. Obviously, you think years ago they used to have all the qualifying rounds, didn't you? And for the British Championship, you had quarterfinals and things like that. But it almost seems to be seeded now. So, yeah.
Simon Corbett on YouTube says Plymouth are at it again with the Covarty statement out today. We'll come to that in a minute.
Yeah, I've got that in front of me now, so I will read that one out. So, statement from the Speedway Control Bureau. On Monday, the 3rd of June 2024, the SCB were informed that Plymouth rider Nicholas Cavati had ridden in the Totalizer ZZMO Crisco Open event meeting in Slovenia the previous day.
Would you like to say that again?
Totalizer ZZMO Crisco Open meeting.
We'll take your word for
That's
it.
what training does for you. So.
Yeah.
Previous day, competing in 5 races and scoring 8 points, which included a race win and 2 second places. With Plymouth already having a facility for Mr Gavati on Saturday the 1st of June in their BSN fixture versus Poole due to missing with a Speedway injury, informed the Plymouth promotion that Mr Gavati had to be in attendance for Plymouth's next fixture, which is scheduled for Tuesday, June the 4th. On informing the Plymouth promotion that Mr Gavati had to attend the next Plymouth fixture, the SCB had in writing from Mr Gavati that he was still not ready to race in the championship as he was suffering with the effects of his injuries that he received in March in his national championship in Argentina. Therefore, as Mr Gavati is refusing to come back to the UK to race for his British club, although currently riding in events in Europe, the Speedway Control Bureau have no alternative than to suspend his Speedway Control Bureau registration for a period of 28 days for failing to attend a fixture listed on the official fixture list.
Can you bring up the YouTube comments again?
The Plymouth Club will receive a facility for the same period, 28 days, as per the Speedway Control Bureau regulation. Plymouth have been informed that the facility will not be extended. Therefore, at the end of the 28 days, either Mr Gavati must return or be replaced.
Okay, so Simon Corbett said Plymouth at it again, and I have to take issue with that statement, blaming Plymouth for the whole situation. It's down to this is definitely down to the rider, surely.
I think unfortunately though the perception is that you think, was it last year when they did exactly the same thing happened with Edward Kennedy? He didn't ride for the whole season, did he? Virtually?
I don't think it was last year. I think it was the year before.
Yeah. So again, it's that word, isn't it? Perception. People think, well, they've done it before, so it just seems to be whether it's a coincidence. It's always the same club, whether it is or not. People are always going to jump to that conclusion.
Yeah, this is why we need clarity, as we spoke about earlier, and why.
If he doesn't want to ride over here, then he should just say, I don't want to ride in the UK. You know, it's...
I wish the whole Birmingham situation via Freddie Lindgren could be a bit more clearer.
Yeah. Well, we are seeing things. It seems to be at the moment we're reading a Speedo Control Bureau statement every other week now on the show, don't we? But at least now there is starting to get a little bit of clarity. So,
is there any truth in the rumour that it's because they've just brought themselves a new computer keyboard? I don't know, but
who knows?
A few nominations for the Rider of the Week. We've got Seji, we've got Kenyon Rue, and I know that we've got another one at the bottom.
Sam Hagen's.
I'd like to say a little bit about Seji. I'll hold my hand up. I will hold my. I don't think I mentioned it at the time because I don't particularly like to do that, but I will hold my hand up at this point and say I had my doubts about whether the Sedgehammer should return to Birmingham, given, as it said there, his woes of last year. But he's proven me wrong, and a lot of people wrong.
I think last season brought him down, didn't he? Really, I think with the struggles of the team, I think it just affected everybody, and he was probably the one rider that it particularly affected. Of course, was captain as well, which probably didn't help himself. But I think coming into a team that is okay, it's in a high league, and he's sort of doing better, not doing brilliantly, of course, in terms of results. I think that will. I think that certainly will help him, and he's got the experience as well. He knows that he's certainly with Perry Barr. He knows the track like the back of his hand. I think the one thing that's important for Birmingham's perspective now is that they can't really afford to lose any more home meetings. I think away meetings, what you get where you can as a bonus, but I think any team must always be looking to win
the
home matches.
Kings Lynn meeting's massive.
That's a massive meeting. I mean, it's Kings Lynn have had a wretched time really so far, haven't they, in terms of fitness for riders and rain-offs and meetings being called off at a drop of a hat. So that's a big opportunity, I think, for Birmingham. But then again, I suppose Kingsley might well look at it and think the same. It's an opportunity for them to come to another team that's not at a great start to the season and maybe pick up a result to sort of kick-start their season.
Maybe. And we didn't do great at Kingsland, did we? So Brian Reeson says Richie Hawkins and Chris Louis are looking for a world-class rider to replace Jason Doyle. Any ideas? You don't replace Jason Doyle, really, do you?
Very, very difficult.
I mean, because all the riders that you would think of to replace him with are already riding in the British League, I would say. But I think you've got to look at a GP rider. You've got to look at attempting that class of a rider in. Obviously, the one that comes to mind first is Bartek Smarslik. I don't see that happening, but it would be a big fillip for British Speedway if it did.
It would be.
I think you'd be looking more likely at people like Kai Hockenbeck, maybe.
I mean, Kai Hülkenbeck's done okay. Obviously, he had a couple of very, very good first GPs, didn't he? And maybe he did.
And another nomination came for
Scotty Nichols.
Scotty Nichols, yeah. A little thing from Lawrence Rogers. You mentioned Nigel Leahy. I'm not entirely sure how to pronounce that, so I apologise if I got it wrong. At Paul and his help with Freddie's visa, he was superb with his help and expertise. Duncan Pemberton, it's not new problems. Plymouth RR, if memory serves me well, White City won the 77 title using RR for Doug Lovas. Well, you have got a very good memory. You remember White City had a team for a start.
Yeah.
It was a great little track, actually.
It's a big track.
It was a
isn't
big track, wasn't
Yeah.
it, in London?
Yeah.
So-
Yeah, I remember White City. Yeah.
Brian Buck rather shatters the illusion that many people seem to have that Paul only look after their own interests. I mean, they were Paul were a big help to Nico Cavati that year that Birmingham went out of the league.
Yeah.
Because he was over here and he was virtually skint, and I know they were a big help with helping him out. So there are always two sides to a coin. But Paul didn't help themselves with lack of clarity, which we've mentioned before in all sorts of things, and people will make up their own stories.
It's 24-30 now in favour of Redcar. It's 28-32, I should say, after hitting number 10. So 4 points in it. So still in the balance, that one. But obviously, Plymouth are now a man down with Ben Barker being out, and of course, operating rider replacement with Dan Thompson as well.
Another
Simon
nomination.
Corbett says Lambert and Mickelson and Thompson would all
Robert
be
Lambert
possible.
as well. I don't know whether he would do a full season.
It wouldn't be a full season now, would it?
No.
It's halfway through, essentially. You
Well,
look at
in
the
the last
fixtures.
2 seasons, he's only come back literally from 2 meetings at the end of the season,
Yeah.
isn't it? So,
Bellevue could be looking for a replacement for Kurtz. Out with ligaments, damage may need operation. Lambert may be another one. So, I mean, I think he'd quite like Bellevue.
I mean, there's a lot of people to obviously talked about the interview that Robert Lambert gave on Eurosport at the end of last season, when he was pretty much very uncomplimentary about it. It was just track. Whether that would put Ipswich off if they were looking for him as a replacement, I don't know. So.
Newcastle Diamonds used to have RR on a regular basis in the 80s. Ian Thompson was their promoter. Ha-ha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh. Another nomination for Scotty Nichols as well.
Okay,
So
he's
I'm guessing he's
running away with this, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yep.
There we go.
Scott's also got his autobiography coming out, hasn't he? So, which he's been well publicised.
I did not know that.
Yep. So,
Oh, well, maybe we'll have to get him on to
well,
talk
of course,
about
Scott's
it.
been on before, hasn't he? Of
He
course,
has.
he was on during the
The COVID
COVID
situation.
season. Yeah, it was a
Oh, yeah.
really enjoyable show, that one. So it'd be great to get him back on. So,
It was a good one, yeah. Taking it back.
Anthony Bailey says it's too early for Robert to come over at the moment. Poland, Sweden, and massively concentrating on the GP.
yeah, I think the one thing, the big thing that he needs to get off his back really is that he's getting that first JP win. You feel that it's not far away, but he just can't quite nail it in the semi-finals and the final, and he sort of seems to peak too early in these meetings. But hopefully, once one win comes, then
It's gotta come this
will
year.
follow, 'cause,
Surely this
you know,
year.
I don't think there's any doubt he is now the top British rider. I think he's our best chance of winning of being a successful on the.
Well, you say that. We might find out on Saturday who the top British rider is.
Yeah.
Tom Brennan, anybody? Wouldn't put it past him the way he's riding. I think it's outside shot by a long way, but yeah, wouldn't put it past him. Having watched Birmingham a few times on streams, now this isn't me introducing Birmingham here, okay? Having watched Birmingham a few times on streams this season, they've been so unlucky with results, and I think Lindgren could be the difference. Well, we all certainly hope so.
Well, he's going to have that impetus of being a number one rider who's capable of going out and dominating at number one. I think that's what Birmingham really lacked.
Have lacked that for a long time.
Not just this season,
Yeah.
but previous seasons as well.
For quite a long time.
Yeah, so that could be. I think him coming in could make a real difference, but he can't do it all on his own. He's got to, obviously, his teammates have got to sort of step up to the plate as well. And I think, on occasions they've just got to all click as a team. I think if they can all click as a team together, then things could look good for Birmingham.
I mean, it's potentially a great situation for us to have Lindgren at 1 and Pavlichki at 7. People say that, and I think that's true to an extent. But I also think very often when you get a rider like Pavlichki, who should be in the main body of the team in the reserve, it puts somebody that should be at reserve in the main body of the team, and that perhaps will struggle. So it can be a little bit two ends of the coin. That's a really bad analogy. I'm sorry.
Duncan Pemberton's gone for Toy to win the British Championship.
Okay. Are we going to put this on our prediction?
We are, yes.
Yeah. So this will be on the prediction league as well, Sam.
Yeah, we'll explain more when we get on to the...
Glenn Clifton, I've said for a few years now, and that's disappeared. Oh, there it is. A few years now that at the end of their careers, Bewley would have more GP wins, but Lambert more likely to be world champion.
Well, he's got more GP wins at the moment, hasn't he? Because he's won 2, I think.
Pete Clark says Brennan's heat one time last night was the fastest for many years. That's because he got Emil Safutin up behind him. Probably. Yeah, it was fast. The track was fast last night. I think possibly a little slick, I don't know.
It was slick, yeah. It was a bit, I thought it was a bit dry, really, certainly in the second half of the meeting.
But yeah, I'm looking at the time. Shall we actually go to the prediction leagues?
Yep.
Yeah.
Where's that gone? Should we have a look at the tables?
Has there been any movement?
I think I'm three points maybe behind you now, so that's all that matters, really.
Okay.
Oh, crikey, I've moved up. Yeah, so I'm on 59 points.
Any chance of you actually putting your mouth by your
60
microphone?
You're on 61, I'm on 59.
61, 59. But what's the positions?
So we've got...
That's not your ages, is it, sir?
No.
You've probably got better knowledge of this table, Matt. So I can see Simon Corbett, Dave Twine, and somebody called Brian Booker. That's what I can see.
So I'm still not the best tipster in my family. So. Yeah, but it is very tight still at the top there. It's there's still several people even going down to the gentleman sitting opposite me. Couple of big results, and he might be right up there. So,
And he might be nowhere. Okay. Yeah.
Probably
Okay.
Well, he's having his best season in this for I think ever, isn't he? So
Yes, by a long way. I would like the season. Can we have rain-offs from now on, please?
Okay. Right. Well, I've got the fixtures in front of me, so let's go through them then, and we'll start off tomorrow night in the Championship, Oxford against Scunthorpe.
Oops.
Okay. It's up to thee.
Oxford by 6, I'll say on that one.
Oxford by 10.
Championship. Yeah, Oxford by 4.
Okay. Next up, also in the Championship on Wednesday, Poole against Redcar.
That's up to me, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Paul by 4.
Poole by 4.
Wow. I've got one right. Probably, almost.
Poole by 20.
Yeah, I'll go Poole by 12.
Oh.
Okay, then on Thursday, in the semi-final of the Knockout Cup, first leg, Kings Lynn against Sheffield.
Kings Lynn versus Sheffield. Oh dear. I'll say Sheffield by 10.
I'll go for a surprise here. I'll go for Kings Lynn by 4.
This is where I'm going to start catching up.
Okay. I'll go Kingsley by 8.
And you're going to lose out. Okay.
Okay, also on Thursday, Ipswich against Birmingham in the second leg of their semi-final.
And this is down to you, Matt.
I'll go Ipswich by 10.
Ipswich. I can't say Ipswich. Ipswich by 4.
I'm going to say Ipswich by 8.
I thought you were going to do the usual.
Well, draw.
Birmingham by 2, so
Yeah.
to get a run-off.
I would absolutely say that. Can you imagine Freddie Lindgren and Emil Seifert in that round?
Okay, then moving on to Friday, in the Championship, Edinburgh against Oxford.
Edinburgh versus Oxford. That's up to
me,
thee.
isn't it? Yeah. Are Edinburgh any good this year?
They beat Glasgow last week, so...
Edinburgh by 6.
Edinburgh by 10.
Ooh.
Edinburgh by 8, I'll say. Okay, also in the Championship, Friday, Scunthorpe against Berwick.
And that's down to me, isn't it?
Yeah.
Berwick have had a good start to the
Scunthorpe
season.
won there, didn't they, last Saturday? So
But I just want to say, but they've tailed off a little bit. I'm going to say Scunthorpe by 10. Seems my favourite score tonight.
I'll go Scunthorpe by 8.
I'll go Scunthorpe by 4.
Okay, then in the National League, we've got Middlesbrough against Bellevue.
Now it's up to you, Matt.
Bellevue by 4.
I'll go Bellevue by 8.
Draw. I have to have one.
Okay. Then on Saturday we've got the British final. So what we'll do, I think we'll do what we did last year. I've already put it on there. So if you predict the winner, you get a point. If you predict the top 3, you get 2 points. If you predict the top 3 and get it in the correct order, you get 3 points. So we'll have your 1, 2, 3 for that.
And it's up to Chris to go.
What, I've got to pick the 1, 2, 3?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't know any of the riders in there, so it's going to be really interesting.
I'm just going down because I think I'm going to go Lambert. Is that one of them? Yeah.
Yes.
And then they got the 2Bs, so I'm going to go Brennan and then Bewley, is it?
Okay.
Okay.
Does that sound acceptable?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
I'm going to go Lambert. Bewley. And Brennan.
I'm going to go for Bewley to win it. Robert Lambert second. And I'm going to go for Tom Brennan third. And that would give Tom the wild card for Cardiff.
Which should be great.
And that will get maybe some Birmingham fans going to Cardiff to watch him. So I'm sure there'll be out there.
Yep.
Okay. So, moving on to Monday now in the Premiership, Ipswich against Sheffield.
Ipswich versus Sheffield. And that's up to me, isn't it?
Aye.
Sheffield by 10. Again, that score.
Sheffield by 4, I'll say.
Sheffield by 8.
Okay. And finally, it's Plymouth against Berwick in the Championship next Tuesday.
That's up to you, Matt.
Plymouth by 4.
Plymouth by 6.
Berwick by 2.
And that's it then. So get your predictions up on the Facebook page. Obviously, we have put them on there, and we will see how the table looks in a week's time. Of course, we've got one match going on at the moment, so that one might have a bit of a say in it there. And it is currently, after 12 races, Plymouth 33, Redcar 39.
And give us your final. This is your final chance to give us your rider of the week as well, please. Have you given yours?
I did, Keenan Rue.
Okay.
Oh, wait for Norwich was done.
All right. Okay. So it's Scotty at the moment.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, he's leading the way. There we go. You got another couple of minutes for that.
Fantastic. Right, we'll catch up on some more comments if there are any out there.
Yeah, I think we're.
Are we all up to date?
There was a couple here.
Okay.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Okay. Okay, is Danny King going to be fit for the British final? If not, who is going to replace him? That's a good question. Do we know who the first reserve is?
I'm not sure. I don't. I mean, he's not going to ride on Thursday for Ipswich. I think he's obviously not in the declared lineup. I think what will probably happen is he'll probably have a spin after the meeting and see how he goes. I think obviously as a former winner, he's going to want to be in it and be in with a chance maybe of nabbing the wild card spot. I don't think he'd be highly fancied to do it, unfortunately, because he's obviously having such a period of time out, and he's maybe not had the best of recent seasons, unfortunately, for Danny King.
I think as far as who's going to replace him, I would like to put a call out for Sam Hagan. Under 21 champion. What's up with Leon recently? Not through lack of effort, but just not getting in the points enough.
Yeah, he's having a tough time at the moment, isn't he? Really, especially for Birmingham. He had a tough time, obviously, on last night. I think in the I can't remember whether it was his second or third race. He seemed to just got bullied out of it, didn't he?
He did a little bit,
which is
not like him, really.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on with Leon. I'm hearing cries of anguish from him at the end of races.
Yeah.
So he's really feeling it at the moment, and maybe that's part of. Maybe he needs to just relax on the bike a little bit.
Yeah, maybe a little bit. He's one of these guys that sort of beats himself up a lot, doesn't he? When things aren't going very well.
Yeah, I think Chris Harris is guesting for Danny King on Thursday, says Brian Reeson. I actually think he's there in place of Jason Doyle.
Yeah, he's not guesting for Doyle. So,
yeah.
And,
Whoops.
What are you
Hello,
doing
what
now?
are you doing? Oh dear.
Sorry.
Oh dear.
Don't do your update now. Do it in 10 minutes. We're finished.
Crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, and...
Okay, I can read you that one anyway.
okay, please. Please do.
Or maybe I can't.
Hey, so just in case people aren't watching on YouTube or just listening to us, Webby's just decided to start an update. Where we go. And he's done it again. Here we go. Okay. Pete Clark, Liam beats himself up after races. Yeah, he does. He needs to relax a little bit, I think. He's our rising star. His place isn't necessarily in danger at the moment, so he just needs to. Yeah, I think he just needs to relax a little bit.
Yeah,
and his best time at Birmingham was when he was just having fun. Yeah, but you think back to the National League.
Yeah,
and
he made such a massive impression, didn't he?
Yeah.
He became a real crowd favourite very early on, didn't he?
So I think he just needs to relax a little bit and stop beating himself up and just ride his bike.
Yeah, I'm always wary with a lot of these young riders that you don't want to see another situation like we had with Zach Varney, didn't we? Because you think he made such a massive impression as well in his first season.
Yep.
And then the second season sort of, it stalled a little bit and, you know, in the end, he walked away from Speedway. So, I mean, that was a precocious talent that was lost to Speedway, unfortunately. So we don't want to see another situation like that again.
No, absolutely. Fred Graham says, had his best two matches for Glasgow at Edinburgh and Redcar this weekend. He's talking about Leon, of course. He was struggling with us also previously and agree, not for the lack of effort.
That's one thing you can never say about Leon Flint, he's lacking effort. You know, he'll put 110% in every time he gets on the bike, but he's just, you know, not unfortunately just not getting the rewards at the moment.
Needs to make a few gates.
Yeah, that would help, to be fair. That would help, especially if the track's slick like it was last night.
So, yeah, he does beat himself up after races. You can hear it. You can hear him, his cries of anguish as he comes over the finishing line, and it's not nice to hear.
No.
So, yeah.
Well, I suppose if he looks at when you look at where the start finish line is, I suppose that when he crosses the finish line, the first thing he sees is you, isn't it? Normally, so that's enough to make anybody cry.
Oh, thanks for that.
Just another lap.
Yeah. Well, okay. I'm going to move next.
Wonder how close I can go to the line before he runs.
Maybe it would gate better if I stood in the middle of the track. Yeah. No, he's mine. That was a terrible Scottish accent. I apologise to everybody.
So I can declare that Scotty Nichols is our...
Okay.
Simon Corbett, what's up with Becca this season?
He hasn't done as he
started off like a race on fire, didn't he?
Yeah, he did, but he hasn't really kicked on, has he? Unfortunately, there's obviously obviously I know from watching him at Wolves the last few years there, he's definitely got a massive future in the sport. Maybe whether it's the familiarity obviously of being away from Wolverhampton and away from Monmouth Green. But he's always going to get little spells like that. And to be fair, he started last season in a little bit sort of fashion. Well, obviously he had an injury at the start of last season. It took him a little bit of a while to get going, but once he clicked, he had a really good season after that. So I certainly wouldn't be writing him off just yet. Because there's no doubt. I mean, he is America's best bet for to eventually succeed Greg Hancock as their top rider.
Yeah, I mean, I've made no secret of the fact that he's a rider I would love to see riding at Birmingham. I think he gets our track.
Yeah.
But
12-point maximum in Sweden tonight, though. Lawrence is pointing out for Luke. So obviously Lawrence is heavily involved with the American dream team, isn't he? So
so there you go. It's one of these things. I mean, people were saying the same things about Worrell, and all of a sudden, he's had his best meetings. His last two meetings, I think.
Yeah.
Possibly last three meetings have been since he's got to number 2.
Yeah.
So, and then he gets injured.
Well, not injured, gets ill. So
Yeah,
so.
but you get ups and downs, don't you?
Well, you certainly get ups and downs with if you've got that condition. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, more downs from the sound of it.
Yeah.
P. Clark says, who could you possibly replace Leon with?
No one.
And there isn't anyone.
No,
It has
rising star. So
Yeah. So
Is he young? He's only young, isn't he?
20.
well, he's under. He was in the under 21, so he knows under 21.
Yeah.
So
He
Drew,
was-
Drew Kemp says Brian Reeson.
How old was he when he was running for Birmingham before? Was he?
He was 16, wasn't
Yeah,
he?
he was. Yeah, so that's
15 or 16.
that's 2018. So
Ryan Reeson, I presume he's talking about replacing Leon with Drew Kemp. Is Drew Kemp a rising star?
I think he's roughly about the same age as Leon, isn't he? So he might be. Yeah. Fred Grove says we'll be happy to see Luke Becker at Glasgow if he wanted to have more rides and boost his confidence. I think a lot of people have talked him out of going into the championship to fair. Whether it would do him good if he's if he wants more meetings.
He was 15 when he first joined us. Was Leon?
Wasn't Neil Evans the same age as when he first?
Yeah, but he wasn't allowed to be.
Yeah.
That's a whole other story. Yeah, God, I remember that. I'm the only one in here that does, but thank you. Okay, well, I guess we're sort of coming to a natural close here.
Yeah.
This is going to be an interesting week now to see what sort of fire under the belly Freddie Lindgren gives Birmingham, to see how Ipswich cope with the loss of Jason Doyle.
Yeah.
A few other boundaries happening around the place as well. You get a feeling this is a part of the season that things could change around just a little bit.
I should say there were quite a number of Ipswich fans there last night again. So obviously there were quite a few of them that took advantage of the VIP tickets. So it was good to see them, and obviously it's a big call as well because it's a long old way to Ipswich, especially during the week over to Birmingham.
Any road up. See you all next week. Hope everything's okay for you and your team during the week. No more injuries, please. Just enjoy your Speedway. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Good night.
And you say all opinions here today. Welcome to the Speedway Tavern. Enjoy your stay.